Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaffer, former Army intel officer, president of Project Sentinel. And Colonel Schaffer, your thoughts about what John just said, that, people are watching the commander-in-chief at a time where we're on high alert and they're shaking their heads. This is actually a very dangerous time for America because we look vulnerable.
Well, we are. And that's the issue. It's the one thing I learned early as a case officer, a clandestine operative, is that perception is reality. So no matter what we can do as the United States military to respond, the belief is we won't. So the best military force on the planet is hobbled by the perception that we have a leader who can't respond. And this goes directly to what the congressman was saying. It goes directly to what we've been talking about, that Biden exudes weakness. And so those adversaries are going to act based on the perception, not the reality. And the perception at this point is Biden is weak. He will do little or nothing to respond to an attack. And that's why they're going to go ahead and take advantage of that right now.
Yeah, which is sad, not just for America, but for the world. Judge Weinberg.
Tony, good to talk to you again.
Hey, Judge.
It seems to me that we are neither feared nor loved, in the words of Machiavelli, which means there's 7 months to go for this administration where they can make their moves against us. What do you say about that? So
I don't necessarily think we need to be loved. I think we need to be respected and be available, especially for our allies, as someone dependable. And Judge, I think you'd agree with me. We have shown that we have not been a good ally to the Israelis. We're constantly backbiting them and criticizing them, and that shows weakness. And then on top of it, then, when you actually have the leader of the free world who physically is seen to be unable to actually make cogent statements in a debate, it only reinforces the mullahs in Iran, Un in North Korea, Putin in Russia, Xi in China, that we are vulnerable. And they're going to act on that vulnerability more than anything else.
They're not afraid of us. They're not afraid of us. They're not afraid of any reaction. I mean, it's so silly. We still have the Suez Canal and the Red Sea's closed, and that's why the price of oil is so high right now.
Right. You're completely right, John, and that's the issue. We could have stopped. I'm going to be very clear on this. We, the United States, could have stopped the Houthi months ago, easily. It would have taken
in 3 days. They could have stopped them.
Yeah, we could have, but John, the choice is not to do that. They're trying to play nice. They're trying to placate, just like Chamberlain with Hitler. They're trying to basically try to appease these people when no appeasement is ever going to appease them. It simply emboldens them, and that's why you see this. And by the way, this is going to go on at least to the next till November, maybe a little past, because at this point, the world recognizes and reads Joe Biden correctly, that he won't do anything. And we, the United States, the American people, are paying the consequence right now, at least economically. We may well be paying much more blood and treasure in the near future if this perception continues and we're seen as completely weak.
Ed Cox here. Why are we going tit for tat with the Houthis when the real problem is Iran? We would just have to take out a couple of their Iranian vessels that are helping the Houthis, or otherwise, rather than spending $1 million missiles to knock out a $25,000 a drone.
I'm with you. So the way we could do it is go after their leadership. One of the things I've heard President Trump had did very effectively is he would call people in a room, some of those leaders, and basically make it very clear that that leader is going to suffer the consequence, not his guys. And when you personalize something like that, like Trump did with Soleimani being an IRGC senior leader, was killed incidental to combat operations in Iraq. He was out of the country. So when you personalize it and say, you guys are up to no good, we're going to make you pay a price, it stops. It stopped after Soleimani. It would stop again now if we said to the Iranians, we know you're doing this. We gave you the money. They got $30 billion in sanctions released from us, and they got another $7 or $8 billion in funds that they were frozen and were unfrozen by Biden. We have fueled the very aggression now against us, our allies, and our interests. And the way you stop it is go back and say, you, the leaders, are going to pay the consequence and pay the price of your continued aggression.
And you also might address the sanctions and taking the sanctions off the sale of Iranian oil that boosted their reserves from $6 billion when Trump left to $80 billion.
Right. That's the other thing too. We could right now even drop the bottom out of the Iranian ability to make money off the sanction relief if we opened up our own spigots, if we dropped the price out of oil. And by the way, talk about a booming economy, that would fuel our economy to a higher level, relieve the stress of a lot of inflation on the American people. It would benefit all of our side. But to your point, until we do that, until we make it very clear that we're willing to do the hard things like go to open production of oil and holding their leaders, Iranian leaders, accountable, you can count on continued aggression and expansion, and dare I say, potential for a third world war on the horizon.
Thank you, Tony Schaffer, and keep your eyes open and let us know right away if you see anything that we should know.
Absolutely, John. Thank you.
Happy
Thanks,
flight.
Tony.